Hello. Yeah, we are late. I am so sorry about that. Let me just get all my stuff sorted out here. Right. Yeah, it's been technology fails you at the best of times. But anyway, right. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get cracking with this. I have got the amazing Aleit Swanepoel on this morning, and he's been patiently waiting for me for 20 odd minutes, and I really appreciate that. I feel like a complete tit not getting the stuff to work. Anyway, so right, let's get cracking and get him in. 20 odd minutes, and I really appreciate that. I feel like a complete tit not getting the stuff to work. Anyway, so right, let's get cracking and get him in. You might just have to mute your YouTube. I feel like a complete tit not getting the stuff to work. Anyway, so right, let's get cracking and get him in. You might just have to mute your YouTube. I feel like a complete tit not getting the stuff to work. Anyway, so right, let's get cracking. Kan jy gou jou YouTube net gemute aan jou kant, asseblief?
Hy's af.
Daar's hy. Good morning. Eventually.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good.
It's so good to see you. And
it was very interesting when you said now we are light. I'm like, we are light. We are light.
Yeah, it's a play on words.
Yeah, I've got negative energy with technology, so it's not your fault. It's me.
Yeah, no, it's crazy times. But anyway, so yeah, what if I see you've got a fire going in the back there, but it's Friday. Why haven't you got a glass of wine rather?
No, it's too early still. We don't want everyone to know I've got a problem.
Well, there's worse problems to have in life than that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I've got so many questions and stuff I want to chat about. So yeah, I think first things first. How have you been through the whole lockdown experience?
Yes, Dewald. It's been up and down. In the beginning, it's going to be fine. But with the extensions, it's just, oh my word, where are we going to end? Because we can only open the events business, entertainment industry, level 1. So I've got 70 staff members that's at home. We can't work. So it's challenging. At times I prayed, at times I swore, other times you cry, you laugh. It's just a massive balls up. And I think during this time also you realize who your true friends are, seeing that you can't have physical contact with people. So that was also a bit of an eye-opener. Luckily I have my daughter. She's with me for 2 weeks, and then for 2 weeks in Houtway with Marjorie. Sorry, the dogs are having a ball. Mira, stop it! And I've got my 4 dogs and my 5 cats. So,
yes. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy, and the whole wedding industry is completely reeling in this pandemic stuff. There's other words that we can call it that children can't hear. Yeah.
Me using the word now, cock up. I recall one wedding where the mother of the bride, the wedding was probably those days 500,000 rand. So it was a lot of money, and it was at a wine estate outside Grabouw, and it was one of the first feast to the table. So you serve your lamb cutlets, you serve your duck fat roasted potatoes, you do whole fish to the table, salads, and it just didn't work. It didn't go out properly. It was slow. Some people didn't get food, and the mother walked into the kitchen and she said, "What is the cock up with the food?" So yeah, so that's a good synonym for the situation with the lockdown.
Aleit, I think let's just do a quick rundown. What is your history? I know that, if I'm correct, you are from Worcester originally.
Yes. Love Worcester. I love speaking at Women's Days there, going to schools. very close to my heart still. It's just very strange. When I was a kid and I used to cycle to school, Worcester Noord Primary School, before we moved to Strand at the age of 14. But I remember Worcester for being so green and luscious, and now when I go there, with all due respect to the people that's still there, it's rather dry, and it's so different to what you remember as a child. And I think it's interpretation, you know. You interpret the good days when you were a child. I mean, in Worcester, I wasn't bullied yet. In Strand High School, oh my word, nobody liked me except the girls. But the guys were waiting at the dam, and I was often in a fight. But, you know, that also made me stronger. So that's part of my background. And due to financial struggles, my dad was a pastor. We moved around a lot, and at the age of 13, I had to start waitering to pay my own way. So that was sort of the forming days. And I'm not sad or embarrassed about anything of my background. The fact that I had to work hard, the fact that I had to make my way up, the fact that I had to pay my own studies, that I had a full-time job, and I studied full-time through UNISA. So that's the background, and it all started with waitering at various restaurants. And at the age of 18, I decided to go to London, and it was a complete. It's not a positive story. I didn't get a job. I was selling computers from house to house. The worst was the Indian clientele. You go to the Indians and they keep you busy for 3 hours, and they invite the whole family from the other side of London. Come and look at these wonderful toy computers that this guy from South Africa is selling, and then 3 hours later you didn't make a sale. So that was also part of it. So after 3 months, I just said to myself, Aleit, you have to do something with your life, because I made a pact and I said I am going to be financially stable. If one day, if I should have children, I want the house with the television and the DSTV and the cookies and the cool drinks and the pool, and all the kids must want to come and play at my house. And I think having that as a mindset and a goal, it just happened organically, you know. Things I believe in organic growth, and the same happened with the company. I started 20 years ago with myself and weddings, and then sorry about my phone. And since then, we have 12 companies now. We have Bar and Staff. We have Lawrence Market. We manage in Barken of Winelands in Lugar. We have a furniture company that does amazing furniture and decor. We're renowned for international events. And that's just a few of the businesses. And I think the secret there, I believe in the man up there. I'm truly blessed and humbled by the fact that I can empower other people at this stage, and also making people's dreams come true. It's such a cliche, you know. In the beginning, I said, transform your dreams into a tangible reality, and that was weddings. And just by offering great service, it's grown to corporate by a bride, Lindiwe is her name, and she said, you did my wedding, it was amazing, it was on top billing, I want you to take over all Absa's corporate events. And then it was Discovery, then it was Standard Bank, and it's all about offering the best possible service and always being available. People say, what is best service? I don't know, it's just part of you. And if you can empower your staff and appoint people that's better than you to be able to offer your clients that service. I mean, you do not get a more selfish person than a bride. And I say that with respect, you know. And you have to be available day and night. If they message you at 12 o'clock and they're from the USA, you need to answer that message. And I think through training my people, my colleagues, I don't believe in hierarchy. I don't believe I'm at the top and then we have a hierarchy. I believe we're all on the same level. The same goes for my gardener or people from Malawi working in my house, you know. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And my main message nowadays, especially when I do public speaking, also something that I never thought would happen, but is to be kind to other people. We are so quick to complain and focus on the negative instead of, you know, I was in a restaurant the other day, long before lockdown, probably a year ago in Greyton. It was legal. And I was looking at this couple. I was on my own, and I could see they're not talking. He's about 50 years old, have a bit of a boop. I mean, I can't talk. I think I also picked up a lot of weight during lockdown. And he was sitting with his wife, and I thought they must have been married for probably 20 years because they're not talking. And I just thought, this is the most beautiful woman. I paid my bill. I walked outside to the car and I listened to that little voice. I believe, I call it the Holy Spirit. Some people call it sixth sense. Other people call it intuition. But I left my car, I closed the door and I went to their table and he was like, excuse me, personal space kind of vibe. I was, no, sir, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell your wife, you are the most beautiful person, your skin, your hair. And I could just see him. He was actually swelling with pride. And I looked through the window when I left this rather odd situation, and I could see him looking at her in a different way again. And that's just being kind and listen to that little voice. A lot of times also, I think mistakes that I made in my life, I didn't take 5 minutes just to stand back and think, to say a little prayer, because I'm a giver. My psychologist, the one of them, I always laugh. By the time when I go to a psychologist, and let's say it's a year, and I start doing the interviewing, then I realize I have to move on now, because they're like, excuse me, you're asking me all the questions. But this is Dr. Stefan Blom, and I believe in fixing your head. I've got a lot of issues from childhood, things that we all have issues. You might have fat legs, or you might have dry hair, or you might have teeth that you're not proud of, or a big nose, and then you always look for the person with a big nose when you go to a party. Go stand next to them, and then you look better. We all know that those little secrets. But we all have our little issues. Even the rich girl with the rich parents, we all have our little issues. And there were these two boys. I think it was last year, and the one was in Stellenbosch, and the one was in the school of my daughter, Beaumont, in Somerset West. And the two boys killed themselves. It was a matter of a month apart, and I was just thinking, it's probably because we weren't kind. One of my favorite writers at the moment is Robin Sharma. Apparently, he's not a great public speaker, I've heard, but his one book is Don't Cry When You Die. And one of my favorite quotes from the book was, kindness, quite simply, is the rent that we need to pay for the space that we occupy on this earth. And I think that a mind shift happened in my life as well, because if you're kind to other people, I must get back to my psychologist, but it also influenced your life. And Dr. Stefan Blom, the psychologist, back to him. Sorry, I've got ADHD, so I jump around. He was saying, Aleit, you know what the problem is with you? And I'm like, duh, why am I here? Thinking that, not saying it. A lot of respect for the man. And I said, no, I don't know what the problem is with me. He said, your problem is that you're a giver. I said, well, I cannot change. I love giving. I want to be a multi-billionaire so that I can bless everyone with gifts, anyone. And he said, no, the problem is not the fact that you're a giver, but the problem is you give to takers and you don't give to givers. And that was probably the biggest life lesson, to say a little shoot prayer when you're at the robot. Is this a tikkop? Is this a dagakop? Or is this a person really wanting money for their family? I think it's important that we look at the bigger picture and give to the right people.
Yes, for sure. Look, in our industry, weddings and events and all that kind of thing, is that we must be able to give a lot and receive very little in the end. But yeah, and I think that's a big problem with social media as well. And I get it often. I think people perceive me as being arrogant or the stubborn Afrikaans guy that set in his ways. But once they get to know me, I'm not. I'm just a very honest person. And I firmly believe that honesty, even though it might be hard or hurt you right now, is the best thing. Then at least everybody knows where exactly they stand with me. And I want people to be like that with me. I don't want to, if I photograph one of your weddings, I don't want to hear afterwards that Aleit said, no, Dewald's actually a bit of an asshole. I can't work with him anymore. If his photos was crap, whatever. If you come to me on the day and say to me, Dewald, you are stuffing around, this is what you're doing wrong, I can fix it then. I can't fix it 6 weeks down the line when my name has already been tarnished. And I've that's one of the things I try to be. I try to be as honest as I possibly can with everybody, with my wife, with my kids. If they've got to go for an injection, I say to them, listen, this is going to hurt. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for them and say, no, it's nothing. I said, listen, it might hurt, and I'm going to be here and help you. And that's one of the things I really want to be remembered by one day, is that I was an honest person, and I didn't bullshit people.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's very true. I've lied about 100 Rand once to a client years ago. I was caught out. And that day I just thought, never in your life again. But we all tell white lies every now and then. And I think sometimes God does understand if you need to tell a small white lie. But I agree in terms of honesty, to be honest with your clients. One quote that stands out for me, it was Anel Botha, the fabulous dress designer. And I did an interview with her for Take Met Aleit. She does all the Miss World and the South Africa, Miss South Africa dresses, etc. And she's very well known for her bridal gowns. But the one question I asked her, I said, Anel, and obviously she was on the spot because it's as if it's live. You can re-record it. I just loved her answer. I said, do you get unhappy clients? And she looked at me and she paused and she said, Aleit, an unhappy client is an uninformed client. And that brings it back to honesty that you said so nicely. If you're honest with your clients, if you're not going to make a deadline, or if you are waiting for the florist quote that was supposed to be in on Wednesday and it's now Wednesday and you're not delivering, be honest with the clients. We all have, life is not perfect. People go to hospital, people get ill, people need to remove their appendix. You cannot always be on time. But an unhappy client is an uninformed client, and that's something to live by.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me quickly. So your first wedding that you did, how did you decide? Okay, right. Let me try this wedding thing, and see how that goes. How did that come to mind with you?
People were very lucky, and I mean this in the humblest way possible. Is that even a word? Humblest. One thing I wish I could change is that I went to an English school, because now you put me on top billing and I say amount of people instead of number of people. You put me, I just get the grammar so wrong when I have to speak English on television. So that's one thing that my daughter will speak English and Afrikaans. But it happened at Oude Libertas. I always knew I'm going to work at this place because I fell in love with the theater and the gardens. It was paradise. And I started in the hotel industry, and those days Protea was very, very fancy, and I worked in Adelaide Street at Capetonian Protea Hotel. My salary was 2,800 Rand a month. My car payment, listen to this, I was so proud of this, my midnight metallic blue Toyota Corolla was 890 Rand, and my rent was 895 Rand. So I had very little left to work with. So I worked at Capetonian for 4.5 years while studying through UNISA, my business degree. And then there was a position available at Oude Libertas as assistant manager. So there I did about, it just fell in my lap. I probably did about 300 weddings. So if you book Oude Libertas, you get Aleit as the manager and you get him for free. You didn't have to pay a coordination fee, although I coordinated your whole freaking wedding. From hair and makeup, to contact these 5 people for dresses, to decor, to florists. Those days, you didn't have lighting that's so big now in terms of chandeliers and mood lighting. Candles was the go-to. And I remember Ivy was extremely big. You Ivy the crap out of any buffet. And if I look at it now, it is horrible. I cannot believe that I thought it was pretty. These buffets that you take the white fabric and you sponge it like this. Ivy, terrible. You will recall. You're not that much younger than me. And so that's where it all started. And then I was promoted as functions and events manager for Distel, the biggest wine and spirits company in South Africa. And I was asked 3 years into the position, I was asked by Caroline Steger and Kuni Snyman, winemaker, Fleer de Cup those days. They said, Aleit, can you please do our wedding? We're getting married at Uitkyk Wine Estate. We need a marquee. How much will you charge? And my fee was 5,000 Rand to do the whole wedding. And that even, yes, I stuffed up so badly. I didn't have chairs for the bride and groom. So they walked in on this amazing, say a little prayer song, and the people clap, and that's a magical moment. Besides the bride walking down the aisle, the reception starting, I looked at the table, I thought, oh my word, the whole family is there, but there's no chairs for them. But luckily they were lovely. So that was one of my major boo-boos in my career. Sorted it out very quickly. And then that evening I went home and I said to Marjorie, I said, I am canceling my master's in business and leadership studies. I'm not going to study that anymore. I want to open my own wedding consultancy. So on the side, I did weddings at night. I would coordinate weddings in the day. I had my day job. And after 3 months, I had 17 weddings, mostly from overseas clients. And then I had to quit my day job as functions and events manager, and I opened my company. And that's when it started.
How did you get the overseas clients back then?
Timing is everything. I was extremely blessed. There was probably only 1 or 2 wedding planners those days, and I thought I can be better than them. I've got a lovely personality, and I think brides want to rather work with guys than with girls. I don't know. That was my thinking process. And I shot a website, 4 pages. It was so abstract. My photography friend that I was staying in a small flat. I recall my biggest expense was getting a fax machine. And that was 950 Rand, and I couldn't afford it. So the clients just fax. Those long pages of faxing, and then you have to cut it up. I was always wondering, how the hell does the paper get to England? Does it go through tunnels? I'm not very technical. But then I started a 4-page website, and I went online, and destination weddings were extremely big then. It's just started. And clients would contact you, and if you on Google search, if you're at the top or top 3, and then you just offer them the most amazing concept and dream, and then they buy in, and then you get the deposit and you start planning.
It's back then it was easy to rank quite high on social. When social media came out, I started my photography page on Facebook in 2010. And back then, it was still, followers were quick, and it was quick to get them, and they were interactive, and you could rank on Google pretty quickly for a search term. And then you talk about like the whole of South Africa. Now people say, no, I can get you on page 1 of Google. I said, well, that's easy, because if Sunny from Kakamas is searching for a wedding planner, Google will tell her, here's all the Kakamas wedding planners. It's not going to show Aleit first. It's going to show Tannie Cookie se kerkrouers.
Tannie Cookie from Kakamas.
Yeah, so that's the unfortunate thing that we've got to deal with now, and what the younger people coming into the market has got to deal with. When we started, I think it was a little bit easier to get that right, to be ranked quite high and get the right people to come on. So how did you, next question with regards to that is, how did you set your price? Because I know you do very expensive weddings. So, and where I'm coming from, this is obviously, like you said, you charge the first couple, you charged him 5,000 Rand to do the wedding. So the next one was probably 7.5, and then it was like 9. And where did you see, okay, right, I'm happy with this kind of money, or I could charge that high amount?
You are dead right. That was actually the way it went. 5,000, 7,500, 9,800,
Yeah.
Actually, I just realized. You feel the market and you look at your competitors. And the one thing that I have learned, I was always looking at my competition. What did they do? Where are they doing weddings? How much do their clients spend? Don't look at your competition. Do your own thing. Leave them, let them be. At one stage, I was so pissed off because there was a big international wedding that I didn't get, and I lost it against a competitor, of course, South African, Cape Town based. And I told my mom, why? What? And she said, Aleit, do you want to do all the weddings in South Africa? Because it's completely impossible. And then something clicked. Okay, cool. I can't. Wish good on other people as well and your competition. But then those days we did budget proposals. A budget proposal, I remember that line so clearly. It's like transforming your dreams into a tangible reality, that kind of vibe. Same type of line. Budget proposal is an estimation of what we think the wedding expense could amount to. And then literally you take market-related averages of the last 10 weddings that you've done. Photography, 10 weddings divided by 10, that's the average for photography. Flowers, food, hiring, beverages. And people will say, I like, but you budgeted for 200 Rand per person for drinks. I said, but you wanted an open bar. If you go for dinner with your wife, you go for dinner at 7 o'clock and you finish dinner at 9. You have a bottle of wine and you're contemplating, are we going to have that second bottle? And you don't want people to think you're an alcoholic, so you go home and you have the wine at home. So a wedding commences at 4 o'clock. People don't eat. They are hungry when they arrive at the wedding. That's why canapes became a massive trend when I started. You need to line their stomachs for the alcohol. But then they finish 12 o'clock, they go home. The wedding's done. So that gives you 6, 7, 8 hours. If the service is good, I promise you, if the waiters are on it, you don't realize that you've had 3 bottles of wine, and that's what happens at weddings. And my secret of weddings is you have to. Guests will always say after a Aleit wedding, it was the best wedding we've been to. Why? Because they were completely boozed up. And the next day they have a hangover. And, you know, I believe all people have self-esteem problems. Every single one has an issue with themselves, you know. Or you arrive at an event and you don't fit in. You're not in the cool crowd. You arrive, they say you must always arrive first in order to fit into a crowd. When you arrive late, you're going to remain an outcast because you didn't form a bond with anyone and they've already formed their cliques. Yeah, but I'm always late still. But after that first drink, and I know it sounds terrible to say alcohol does the trick, but after that first drink, people relax and they sort of gain more self-confidence. And then the wedding is just a magical event. And I'm not saying it's all about booze, but it's also, that's why I'm very keen when it comes to, you can't do it with our big corporate events, but it comes with weddings. 2 weddings, you have a pre-party. Let's say the Wednesday or the Thursday before the Saturday. Even if it's only 40% of your guests and you do pizzas or a relaxed braai. But then Dewald and I, that didn't know each other, we clicked. And we had drinks together. And when I arrive at the wedding, I'm like, Dewald, come sit here with us, you know. Yeah. So that is a great icebreaker. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It can even just be drinks and cheese platters or whatever. But that's another secret for making it magical. And it's all about sensations. People, I've attended a course once. I forgot the American's name. I was still in the hotel industry. It's literally 25, 28 years ago. And Phil Wexler was his name. And he said it's all about moments of truth. So when people arrive at a wedding, they will immediately feel the classical musicians are playing. I'm at a wedding, a waiter opening your door, trays coming out for pre-ceremony drinks. So you immediately know this wedding is in a different league. So it's all about stimulating the sensations of your guests. And that's something that wedding planners or event planners that's not good. They don't get that right. It's all about the smells, the service, the teeth, the smiles, guest interaction. And I think we in South Africa has mastered that skill of those moments of truth. That's what we call it, a moment of truth, where literally the waiters polish the shoes of the guests before they enter the reception. Those small little touches, you know, but that's the moments of truth that people will remember.
Yeah, no, weddings is an interesting industry, and I've said it a couple of times. My definition for a wedding, if you open up the HRT or the thesaurus book, my definition that should stand next to wedding should be crisis management. And even for us as photographers as well, the people that's never worked with you, obviously there's a lot of the makeup artists and wedding planners and flowers and everything that's worked with everybody, so they know each other. But for a bride, 99% of the time, it's the first time that she's getting married. The bridesmaids is the second issue because they've been at 2 other weddings before. I've had a mother of a bride come to me one day at a wedding. She says, I said, "Hi, are you the mother?" She says, "Yeah, I'm going to be your worst nightmare today." I said, "No, darling, the bridesmaids." She said, "Oh my God, I nearly killed them this week." I said, "Well, see, exactly what I'm saying."
Well done. Relationship tick.
Yeah. Immediately, she was friendly to me the whole day. There was no issues whatsoever. But us as photographers, we spend most of the day with the bride. So the makeup comes in, they make them pretty, and off they go. Flowers come in, set it up, hardly see the bride, off they go. But we built, and I always joke with him. I said, listen, I'm going to spend more time with your wife today than you are going to be spending with her. We need to tie shoes. We zip up dresses. We do ties. We open doors. We carry flowers. All those kind of things. And that's the kind of thing that people don't see a wedding photographer. They see the beautiful pictures afterwards, but it's 99% of the time that taking the pictures is that's not the issue. Just to get everybody comfortable, get everything sorted, get everything on time. And I've got a thing with my brides. I say to them, right, if we go back to the venue, stay in the car park. If you smoke, have a cigarette. Can I get you something to drink in the meantime? But take 10, 15 minutes, because this is only 10, 15 minutes. You guys are going to be alone with each other today before you go home tonight. And oftentimes I said, I never thought about that. And then I go in, put my bags down, I tell the DJ what he needs, I get the MC, I said, right, they're outside, they're going to be here now. And it just gives that little bit of a breathing space that nobody thought about in the planning section. Everything is just rush. And 12 o'clock, the lights go on, and then you must go home, and then the party's over.
Yes. Now, photographers, I must say, a lot of respect, really a lot of respect. If you don't have a good wedding planner or an event planner or a venue manager, the photographers are normally the saving grace, because they open the door. They make sure that your dress doesn't touch the tire of the car. That's one of my worst. I did a wedding for Audrey Jean in Hermanus, and her dress was like Diana's dress. I mean, the trail was so long. And she got out of the car at that Klipkerkie in Hermanus. It's not a Catholic church. It's a Methodist church, I think. And this freaking dress touched the tire, and it was a black mark this long over the dress. And she looked and she turned. I said, don't look, please don't look. Everything is. And I tucked in the dress, this long veil, so that the tire marks didn't show. And only after the ceremony, she realized, that's experience. Because a bridal car has freshly polished tires, and that was one of my biggest lessons. But like I said, photographers are always coming to the party. So well done to you and your industry.
Oh, thank you. All right. So on to my next thing is, how did you decide to go into the whole TV thing with your Tate with Aleit show? It's quite popular.
Ek lag nou. I did a shoot with Hannon, and he's one line, we do a promo. So we were at the luxurious, opulent house. Yes, this grand. It was a cocktail party, black and white. That was the theme that I chose for their shoot. And Hannon, all he had to say was, in Afrikaans now, tune in next week, Wednesday, at 6:30, where I spend time with Aleit. Nou moet hy sê, tyd met Aleit. As ek nou tyd vir Aleit spandeer, ek sê tyd met Aleit. Okay, ons doen dit weer. Tune in next week, tyd vir Aleit. Ag, toe dit by die 8ste keer kom, toe sê ek, los dit net. Dit was 'n awesome dag, met baie lekker gelag. Hoe dit begin het, it started with me having regular appearances on Top Billing, like I said earlier, having to do the English thing, and a lot of appearances on Pasella, styling shoots, and Espresso. And then it was one evening, I think it was the 18th of June, I was sitting in front of my fireplace. I was on my own, having a glass of wine. It was 8 minutes past 7, and my phone rang, and it was a no ID number. Picked up. Obviously, it can be a client, because they don't understand that event planners also have families. And they picked up, and they said, we want you to fly to Johannesburg on Monday. We'll book your flight. And I said, okay, cool. Not really knowing, not doing research of who I'm going to see. All I knew is I'm going to the Saxon Hotel. Saxon Hotel, 5-star, terrible interior. But anyway, the snacks were amazing. And I arrived at the airport, and for the first time in my life, I arrived in Joburg. There was a man with a black suit and a sign, Aleit Swanepoel. I was like, oh my word. I said, yes, sir. In fact, you can come with me, expecting we're going to a taxi. There was this black black Mercedes-Benz. I'm not good of cars, but it was very long and it was very shiny. And we went to the Saxon and I met these people there. It was 2 ladies and the husband. And the lady was Elzilda Becker. And after the second glass of bubbly, or close to the end of the second glass, I said, it's lovely talking to you, and the snacks and the droewors and the pitted olives, everything is amazing, but why am I here? And why the car? And why the fact that you paid for my flight ticket? They said, Aleit, we would like you to be a presenter on the Cut TV, which was then fancy and amazing. We would like you to be the lifestyle expert. And I was like, oh my word, pretending I'm used to everything. I can consider that, I said in Afrikaans. And when we met, it was like, oh my word, I'm going to be on TV. It's a dream come true. I'm going to be like Nico Panaggio, and I'm going to be like Minky, remembering their lines. Oh my word, this is amazing. And they said, okay, Aleit, the only thing you have to do a selfie video and send it to us. We just want to get a feel for your how the listeners and the viewers will relate to you. I did the selfie video. I didn't even do it myself because I'm a professional. I got someone to do it for me. I sent the video the next day and they said, thank you, but no thank you. And I was, what? They said, no, sorry, you don't have what it takes. But you can go to Elsie de Daniel in Stellenbosch at her husband's expensive jewelry shop. There's a theater underneath where she gives classes. And the course amount was horrific. I was like, well, I'm not going to pay this for TV training. And she remembered me doing her husband's 60th birthday party at the Libertas. I recall there was 1 yellow rose on each table, and it was still so striking. And since then, yellow is my favorite color, by the way, yellow and mustard. And she said, Aleit, I will help you. Come meet me tomorrow at 4 o'clock. 5:30, I left her studio. Now, I had to do a 3-month course. After an hour and a half, she said, if you won't tell, I won't tell. You are ready for TV. And it was the most torturing experience sitting with this celebrity actress in her underground cellar kind of theater vibe. And she was like, Aleit, no, open up to camera. No, why are you saying, tell me about your day. I said, tell me about your day, talk. I said, tell me about your mother. And she said, no, I'm not happy with the way you're acting. And after an hour and a half of torture, she said, I'm ready. Sent my video again, and the next week I started with the Cut TV. And then I did 3 seasons with them, and I think I was probably fired by them without them firing me. And I also didn't resign because I had one of my colleagues, Mandy, that worked for Pasella for a very long time. She said, Aleit, why don't we start our own TV show? I said, okay. She said, you ready? You ready for this? You've done the Cut TV. You've done regular appearances on big lifestyle programs. I said, oh my word, how am I going to remember my lines and a whole show? She said, I've got a great idea. Let's go to celebrities, go to their houses, you spend a day with them, and they get a challenge. You spend the whole day with them, you interview, you set a table, you cook. And she said, because the secret is you are not going to attract the viewers, the celebrity, the Liz Maidens, the Bramilda van Rensburg, the Chris Cornelius. People want to see their houses. They want to see you. And now it's been 5 seasons, and the show is very highly rated on CakeNet, and it's just been magical. If you should have told me I'm going to spend a day with a Bramilda van Rensburg or a Chris Chameleon, all these icons that I looked up to, and I would never have thought they would even say hello to me. Nevertheless, spending a whole day. Sorry, something fell. Oh my word, the guitar fell off the piano. Anyway, so yes, and that's how it all started. And I was sitting in Kalk Bay with a friend of mine. His name is Andre, his surname is Verheem. And I said, Andre, I'm going to start a TV show. He said, Tyd met Aleit. I was like, oh my word, there's the name. And that's, the rest is history. And it's so much fun. It's not the biggest paid job, I must be honest. And you must actually pay CakeNet more than $1 million to have a show on TV. They don't pay you to have a show, you pay them. So then you need a sponsor. And I was very, very blessed. And I am promoting them now. Now, HGG Financial Services, they've been sponsoring my show 5 seasons, 13 programs times 5 since season 1. And that has been the biggest blessing, having them believing in me. And I think the favor was returned in the sense I asked Hendrik, the owner, after season 1, I said, did it mean something to your business? He said, Aleit, I'm not sure if it's your TV show, but we've never been this busy. So it is good that it's actually, dis tweeledig, jy weet, it is, hulle wat sien daardeur and they're blessing me with finances to host the show. And to be able to educate South Africa, you know, die tannies is mal oor my program. Hulle sit daar in Kakamas en hulle dek tafels is Aleit. They will Facebook me and see, we've done this today. Remember you did this 3 weeks ago, look. Or they will send me a photo of the babooti that I made and say, Aleit, but you've left out the secret ingredient, blah, blah, blah. So it's just wonderful to educate me and to be educated by the country, by people. They will come back to me and say, this silver, you said you must add baking powder into hot water and then put in tin foil with it and then put in your silver and it will shine. It didn't work, Aleit. You said candles must go in the fridge in order for it to last longer. I've Googled it. It's not true. It doesn't make a difference. So it's baie lekker. It's interactive and it's interactive. And it's becoming I think it's a lifestyle thing for people to watch the program in their lounges and to have fun and to get to know. I must tell you, some of these celebs are so freaking dirty. No names mentioning, but you arrive there with a musician and you think, oh my word, you didn't even wash the dishes. Look at the bacon and egg pan of 3 days ago. There's flies in the cutlery drawers. So I see it all, but I don't split in them.
I've spent some time with 1 or 2 people, and the one time is I'm also not going to mention the name. They got into the champagne quite a bit, and I was shooting this whole thing, and I was like, this is my mouth hanging open. I was like, she's like, these people are like the so-called celebs of South Africa, but just this what's going on in front of the camera is. And I've still got the footage, so maybe I'll blackmail them one day.
Oh, that will be wonderful. I think with the lockdown and all of us struggling financially, that's a good thing for us to start blackmailing clients.
Oh, no. It's and also that's because you and I, we see things from people that the outside never see, but that's also the kind of secrets that you keep.
Yes.
Because as soon as something like that comes out, then your reputation will be down the drain completely.
Dewald, I have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
You sit with a lot of clients before the wedding, discussing which style of photography, what you're comfortable with. Do you have a good side? Do you have a bad side? You know, any politics with the mom and dad? Are they divorced? You need all that information. But the one question I have is, can you tell if the marriage won't last?
I've had it once or twice. Where it's not. It's you come back and you say, "Thank God I'm not getting married to that woman." Or
yes.
It is just. There's a couple of them. I think from all my weddings I've done, I can probably count on 2 hands the ones that I know that's divorced. But yes, you just get uncomfortable. I've had, and I'm pretty sure you've had it as well. You get this client, you just get back from a meeting, and just say, I'm not going to be able to work with him.
No,
and especially in the beginning stages, you still take the job, but then on that day, it's like, this is one of the most horrible things that you must go do is to get out of bed and make sure that you go make it enjoyable for them and still get the best out of them, even yet you wanted to tell them to go stuff themselves.
Yeah. It comes back to kindness again. And also, I was at I need to brag. I was at a wedding conference in Thailand, and there was 390 top wedding planners from all over the world. One of the best experiences ever. Now, give Aleit a challenge because I was bullied at school, because I wasn't an A candidate up till grade 12. In graad 12, matriek, toe kry ek 'n A, eindeksamen. I don't know what the hell happened there. I still think it's a mistake. I even got an A for accountancy. which I failed at. But anyway, and social media for me has been a massive challenge. And there was an award for the best social media person at this conference. And I thought, I am going to win this. Not having a clue about hashtags and ads, but I taught myself. And out of all these wedding planners, I won the award for the best social media. And that was a moment for me and a great achievement, you know. And where I'm getting at, I think it's extremely important for businesses now to be tuned in as far as that, especially now with the lockdown. You know, events are going to be very limited, and I don't want to be pessimistic, but people are going to take time before they want to celebrate again. Or the alternative may be that they just want to get pissed, you know, and have parties. But I think it's going to take time, and also the pool of photographers, the pool of event planners, it's completely out of balance with the business amount of business that there will be.
It's that's one of the big things. I've said that there's going to be a lot of photographers that unfortunately will not be opening up their doors again. And one of the things that, and it's not just myself, it's a lot of the photographers that's been doing it for a while, is that, and I'm 100% sure it's exactly the same with wedding planning as well, is that there's a lot of people that after a Christmas bonus next year, January, there's a Facebook page and a week's website put together that they're a photographer or wedding planner or a makeup artist or stuff like that. And I think a lot of those things are going to slowly start disappearing.
Yes.
And also a lot of them are really, really good in what they do. They are really good photographers. The problem is their pricing is not on point, because they probably still have a day job. So on the weekend, an extra $5,000 on a weekend is good money for them. But their work is of such a standard that it takes away money from the guys that is equally as good, but that charges more.
Definitely. And they have these associations, but in South Africa, we are extremely challenged because there's nie 'n maatstaf van dit is die standaard. These are the standards that you need to adhere by. These are the cost guidelines for photographers, for wedding planners, etc. I was the Aleit Academy, and I'm going to say it, is the best event school in South Africa. It's amazing. I wish I could have studied there. And we have a wonderful team. We have 120 students at one time over the 3 years. And we're talking about quality people. They all get grabbed, immediately get jobs when they graduate from us. But the reason why I started that is because I was livid. I couldn't, a girl with nice boobs, high heels, 21 years old, she does it a sister's 30th or a dad's 40th, and all of a sudden she's an event planner or a wedding planner. And there's marquees that went up in the air. People that lost their whole reception due to imminent weather, for example. You know, if you don't have the experience of how to have risk management in place, how to deal with these things. I mean, I know about people that's been sued horribly by clients, and they lost court cases. And that's why I started the Aleit Academy, in order for them to have practical and theoretical experience within the industry. So after 3 years, they are trained and they are ready. And the events industry in South Africa, it's a massive industry. You can do photography, videography, you can do lighting, you can do decor, you can do styling, you can do hotel management, you can do guest house management. So the sky is the limit, and I don't think that's going to be, I was always afraid putting out too many event planners out there. But most of them don't go do event coordination. They specialize in one segment of their training. So I don't know if you will recall, at one point, I was 18 years old, 19, 20, which is now 25 years ago, but everyone went to study beauty. Can you remember?
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the school in Stellenbosch, but everyone. And now people work for 5,000 Rand, and they have a massive qualification, but the market is saturated. So yeah, I just don't want. I'm afraid it might happen in some segments of the event and wedding industry, such as photography.
But also it's the way that you brand yourself and market yourself that will make you stand out. Because if you're gonna do exactly the same with each of your stuff going forward, and you don't grow, then somebody who's better than that's going to overtake you very quickly, and that's the big problem that's with photographers, weddings, flowers. There's just somebody coming there that's got more balls to put on the table, and they're taking bigger risks, and it's paying off for them at the end. I've had a lot of chat with, and before I did photography, I did fishing trips, and I don't know if you've seen there's some of these guys that I've been following for a long time in the fishing, the fly fishing fraternities, and the guys that I've interviewed, they've all come through the ranks, and they all created something that completely blew everybody's mind 10 years ago. Now it's almost getting to that same point again where something needs to be done that will blow everybody's mind again, and it's all over the show. This whole COVID-19 thing has brought the playing field back to square one for every single industry, and people are either going to, like you said, people are either going to spend a lot of money to be noticed when all of this is over, or they're not going to be able to get up and going again.
Yeah, you need to stay relevant. That's what I tell my colleagues. You know, a lot of wedding planners, I say that with respect, and event planners, they post these amazing, majestic weddings that they've done. People don't want to see that now. You understand? People are in pain. People are suffering. Some people are hungry. Husbands they don't bring their salary or get 50% of their salary. So I think it's time now to remain relevant, but also to have empathy with the lockdown challenge. And ek sê altyd Suid-Afrikaners, ons suip as ons die rugby wen, as ons die rugby verloor, suip ons ook. That gives you hope for the event industry, because we as South Africans will always party. But and this is not a question that you've asked me, but I'm sure you were going to, so I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
I think the event industry is going to change dramatically in the sense of local produce, supporting local florists. I mean, when I started the company, if you flew in flowers from Holland, it was unheard of. Dit gebeur nie, dis te duur. Now, every single week, we have loads and loads of flowers coming from all over the world. Roses from Kenya, Europe. That's going to all change. People will support locally and not leaving their carbon footprint. And I don't want to be negative, but I think it's, like you said, it's back to basics, back to where we come from. And also to have I had a very, very Christian bride, Happy Clappy. My dad was also Happy Clappy. I was Happy Clappy. But she said, and they were loaded. They could spend a crap load on their wedding. But she said, Aleit, I choose to remain a good steward. And she cut budgets, and she said, no, we go for the more cost-effective photographer that might not be the best, but that's taken best because they want to be a good steward. You know, the money can rather go to charity or the poor. And I think that's going to be the mindset within not only the event industry, but most industries to be good stewards with what you have, and that's what you've been awarded with.
And the people will still spend money, or they spend good money on where they're going to get the value from it.
Yes.
They're not just going to flaunt the money like they used to. And
Yes.
again, I might be, we don't know at this stage, but I think the people are going to spend money where they will get the best value for it. For getting back to businesses, I think the people that's got the bucks will have big advertising budgets to get clients to come on board again. And the guys that don't have that kind of budgets, I think they're going to slowly fall in the leeway. I really hope it's not like that, but I'm worried that it might be.
Yeah. Anyway, let's remind my business partner, one of my business partners, my main one, Hans Rosenskoen, he always ends his mails during lockdown saying, I choose to remain positive.
Yep.
And I think we all have that mindset. Amal, Almal is in die moeilikheid. Ek sê vir my ma, I haven't finished paying, I didn't pay my bond on this house completely. I still owe quite a bit. I'm afraid, what if I lose my house? And she said, Aleit, hulle wil nie al die huise vat nie. Moenie worry nie.
They can't take it because they can't sell it because nobody can buy it.
Exactly. Wat ek hulle met al die karre doen? Wat hulle met al die huise doen?
Yeah,
So,
no, it's crazy. But yeah, what's in the future? What's your if this goes away tomorrow, what's the first thing you're going to tackle?
You know, the one thing that's extremely close to my heart is education. And I am extremely proud of the Academy team. We might have been the first school to be online. So just being able to get that running and keep it running, that was a massive achievement for me. And I'm very, very proud of my team. I'm very proud of the students and also the parents commending us for just being online immediately during the struggle. As for the rest of the business, a word that's thrown around so often, but I still love the word, is organic growth. And I believe this whole process, we will be guided by organic. It will go in a direction that's organic, and we must just make the right decisions and follow through in terms of what happens in the economy and all other industries, and then to be true to your brand. And then the sad thing for me is I spoke to, sorry, bringing it back to photography, but there's photographers out there that used to charge 35,000 Rand per wedding. They now charge 5,000 Rand if you pay in full. So how is that going to influence the market? And that's not photography, because people need money, they need deposits. And I'm concerned about that, but I believe if you offer the best and give the best value and offer the greatest service to define yourself from others, we will survive.
And the problem with those photographers that's charging $5,000 now, and they're usually 35, is that now come the wedding in November 2021, they're not going to get a single cent. So they're going to be working for free then.
For free, and it's a Saturday that you can't sell again.
Yes, exactly. And there's probably going to be popular dates as well. But the biggest problem that 95% of people have made with this whole thing is that they haven't got a second stream of income. Photographers included, and wedding planners included, and flowers included, everybody. You've got multiple streams. So if let's say your wedding industry completely crashes, you still got the school, and you've got a very good name connected to that. So people will you'll still get an income from that. And you've got, like you said, you've got your furniture and you've got the markets and all this kind of thing. So if one egg breaks on the ground, you still got a basket full of other ones. But if you've only got one egg in your basket, then you're pretty stuffed.
Well, there's a baie groot les vir ons almal, and I think the word that we can actually use is wat is die woord wat ek soek? Diversification.
Yeah, diversification.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And sadly, we've learned that the hard way during this time now. I've always, you cannot rely only, and I'm not preaching to anyone, but I think this must be a lesson that we all learn and that we can take home from COVID-19, is to be able to diversify.
But I really hope that people do, and that they you don't need to diversify. If you're a photographer, there's other ways to earn money with your photography instead of just weddings. Or weddings or events or whatever. And I've, thank goodness, 5 years ago I started already with that, and now my weddings is more of ek sal nie sê my gatsak geld nie, maar it's not my main income anymore. I do a lot of work in agricultural sectors and in corporate businesses and stuff like that. That's bringing in money from Monday to Friday from 8 till 5.
Yes.
With my photography. And if I do get weddings, then I don't have to worry that I've booked 40 weddings this year so I can pay all my bills.
Yes.
And it's been hard to get there. And I've said it 5 years ago in the photography groups, I said, guys, you need to make a plan. You can't make a decent living of doing only wedding photos. The bank account will look nice now, but when will you have time for your family? When will you have time? If it's, and I said this because 7 years ago, Emily, my oldest, was born. I said, I don't want to be on a Saturday morning and I can't go to a netball game saying that, no, I need to go do I must go away for a wedding. I think that, and or 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, I'm on the road coming back from Stellenbosch or Pits on 'n Water because I was at a wedding and there's other drunk people on the road and everything. Those kind of things are keeping me awake at night.
Weet jy wat, Dewald? Saying that, I think the cops are actually missing something. Imagine how much money they can make if they go sit outside Lawrenceford Wine Estate at the gate on a Saturday night from 11 till 2. What?
But
we just decide, and they still don't listen. They drive or they don't Uber.
Yeah.
So I think it's a massive market, but you said diversification. Maybe I should join the police force.
Not the police force. I think you should invest in some buses to take the people to wherever they need to go. But then you got to have a cleaning service as well to clean all the seats afterwards. That's crazy times. Okay. One last question I've got for you. Your Tyd with Aleit is very popular. Do you see something like that going into the online sphere and away from TV sometime?
Yes. I have been contacted. I don't want CakeNet to think I'm not transparent.
Yeah.
But I have had various offers of people saying they would like to do things online with me. But obviously, I have to. I need to be transparent then before I make a decision like that with my current channel. But yes, definitely, and it's happening. It's happening worldwide. People do this kind of vibe. And I think South Africa, we're rather behind in terms of online shows, but it's going to change very soon.
I'm just because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've wanted to do a podcast for a very, very long time, and I don't want to do it to get money. The money will come if you enjoy what you're doing. Do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast by any chance?
Yeah, I love Rogan Josh Curry.
Say again.
I love lamb Rogan Josh Curry.
But Joe Rogan has got a podcast that he just sold to Spotify for $100 million.
Yeah.
And I think with what you're doing with Tyd met Aleit and what Karen Zoid is doing, the TVs are restricting you. I watched Karen Zoid the other night, and I think she has got the platform to do this long form instead of the 45 minutes or 25 minutes that you've got for an episode. Sit there and do it 2 or 3 hours and show the real what is behind it, not just the cut scenes that you can fit into that time.
Yeah, listen to this quickly, and the listeners, thanks for listening, and viewers, we appreciate you. The one thing that people don't realize, when we go on, let's say we go to Johannesburg and we shoot Johannesburg celebrities, you get up at 5 a.m, you arrive at their homes, needing to miss the traffic at 7, you pack up 7 at night. So what they see on television is only 22 minutes of more than 12 hours. And that's true. They only see the beauty. They don't see the flies in the drawer. They don't see the dirty bacon pan. But I think what makes the online platform more attractive is that it's going to be more real.
Yes, and I think people want that now. I think people know that everybody, they know the celeb has got a following of 100,000 or 200,000 on Instagram or whatever, and they see all the beautiful pictures and the training videos and the food and all those kind of things. But I think people are hungry for what we are doing, to get to know what's going on in the background. Who is that person when they at home sitting in their sweatpants, didn't wash their hair for 2 days? Who's that person?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I think there's a gap in the market for that.
Hoorie Dewald, wat se broek het jy aan?
Wat se broek het ek aan?
Ja.
Ek het 'n kort broek aan.
Nee, this is vir my baie interessant. The reason why I asked, because I've done a lot of interviews such as these lately, international ones as well. But people don't realize I'm in my PJ pants all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that's a fun thing about this whole thing. I'm like I said earlier, I'm an honest person. The way you see me now is the way you're going to see me when you bump into me on the road or in the mall. I want to be authentic. That's the big
Yes.
I don't want to put up a show for anybody that when they do see me in looking like the way I do, they said, shit, how is that possible? And I think that's what a lot of these celebs that we follow they've got that problem, that they can never be who they actually are.
Yeah, screw that. I do take glasses off when I go to the mall and put a little wiki, because the 10th tannie that comes to me, mal oor jou program, kan ons 'n foto neem? I don't mind at all. I love it. You know, dis my lekker, dis 'n compliment. It's really a compliment. Maar ek het nou die dag toe sê 'n vrou van Mitchells Plain, dink ek, sy sê vir my, jy lyk dan baie beter sonder die make-up, hoor. She was saying, it's much better in real life with no makeup than having makeup on taking it. So, and that honesty, that authenticity, I just think that you can't beat the South African sense of humor and honesty.
Something that I really want to do one day is because our parents' age, my dad is now 68, he's almost 70. I don't know if your parents still,
yeah.
So the stories from that era is going to disappear within the next 10 years. And as sad as it might be, my dad grew up on a farm where they plowed the fields with horses and donkeys and up until now, where they can control everything in the house with a freaking cell phone. They've seen the biggest growth the world has ever seen, and we're going to lose their stories.
It
is baie hartseer. That's one of the things I still want to do. I want to figure out a way to capture those stories and have it available for my kids, because my kids get up in the morning, they switch on YouTube and they're happy, but they will never experience what those guys experienced.
You see, I never thought of it this way. It's amazing, jy weet. En ons kinders gaan nie weet van nommer asseblief nie. Hulle kan nie al daai agter elke man, daai program Niels Holgersson, onthou jy al daai?
Ja.
And we can just capture that, and we can actually record a crap load, and we call the show Nostalgia, where people just share their stories. Because if they're not here in 10 years from now and we said goodbye and we've hosted a lovely funeral, we can at least hang on to the nostalgic stories.
And one of the things I've also got a name for, I was talking to strangers. I want to call it talking to strangers. I want to walk up to somebody that looks interesting to me in the mall, and I know you're going to get a lot of people that's going to be very freaked out, like that woman you said in Greyton. I want to go up to them and say, listen, you look interesting to me. I want to take an hour or 2 hours of your time, and I just want to talk to you like this. And
this is powerful.
But again, it's to get it all done, especially now in a time like this. And then I want to, like that Tannie you said to you, jy lyk mooi sonder die makeup. What's her story?
Exactly.
She probably makes the best curried fish in Mitchells Plain. So if you can do a show with her, say, Tannie, asseblief, if you get in the car, you drive to Hopetown deep in the Karoo, and you stop at the church office and you knock on the door and says, wie is die Tannie wat die beste melkter bak in die kontry? And you phone her, right?
Don't give away these ideas. We can make a lot of money.
Nou kom ons moet dit doen. It's also one of those things I said 5 years ago. That's what I want to do, and it's still. I lay awake at night with all the ideas in my head, I'm not worrying about the money. I'm worried about all the ideas I've got that I can't realize.
We can take it further. You're not worried about the virus. You're worried about the ideas.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
No. All right. Aleit, we've gone over an hour, and I can probably do this for another 3-4 hours. I've got no problem.
Lekker. Skinky wine.
Yeah. We're gonna have wine this afternoon. I'm not scared to say it. I've got a friend of mine who's gonna come around, and we're gonna light the fire, and we're gonna have a good couple of glasses of wine.
Dra jou masker.
Say again.
Dra jou masker.
Yeah, but the alcohol will kill the germs.
Lekker baie dankie vir jou tyd. I really appreciate it, and to everyone tuned in, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for you too. That was prepared to come and have a chat to me. I know that there's been a lot of technical glitches this morning, but I must say my mood has been lifted tremendously from where we were before we started.
Thank you, Dewald.
Thank you, Aleit. Jy moet 'n awesome dag en 'n awesome naweek. Sterkte aan jou kant.
Liefde daar. Bye.
Bye-bye. I just want to say thank you really much to Aleit. It's been fantastic. Please go follow him on all his social channels, all the projects he's working on. It really is inspirational. And thanks for watching. Cheerio. Bye.